Thank you for providing that information. If you stay with us, we're going to stay in the Gaza Strip. Israel's military chief says conditions are now in place to advance a hostage deal in Gaza. Chief Eyal Zamir claims the army has dealt a major blow to Hamas's governance and military strength. He says Israel's operational power has paved the way for progress in ongoing indirect talks to secure hostage releases. Let's listen to what he's had to say.
הגענו להישגים רבים ומשמעותיים. פגענו קשות ביכולותיו השלטוניות והצבאיות של חמאס, ובזכות העוצמה המבצעית שהפגענו, נוצרו התנאים לקידום עסקה לשחרור.
Well, Jordan, thank you for staying with us. I mentioned a short while ago we're going to look now at the potential release of hostages. Of course, since that initial ceasefire, which concluded after its first phase, no releases of hostages as we saw during that time. How significant is it for the people of Israel if this does go through and 10 hostages are released in that moment? What will it mean to the people of Israel?
I think it will be very critical. Israel, of course, celebrates all hostages who come home. The recent celebration of Idon Alexander, an American citizen that Trump helped rescue and bring home to Israel, was considered a beautiful milestone amongst the Israeli public. Much of the Israeli public does want this war to end, but they also understand the dangers of the cost that could occur if the costs are simply too high. And so what's important to note is that while Israel wants to bring about every hostage home, it also wants to make sure that October 7th style attacks don't happen again and again, as Hamas has committed itself to. Going back to a recent claim I made, a few of the other orgs that were mentioned in those 130 include Save the Children and Oxfam, organizations that are affiliated often with anti-Israel bias, and many who do appreciate UN programs that have often been accused of anti-Israel bias. And so I need to review the total list of those 130 and whether Amnesty International was mentioned, but much of the same concerns do pervade with those organizations as well.
Yes, and Jordan, of course, looking towards, again, this potential ceasefire deal, part of that could also see the release of the bodies of dead hostages. How significant is this as well?
Reopen many wounds that the Israeli public has continued to suffer from. Recently, there was a report whereby it disclosed details regarding the sexual assaults that many of the victims from the October 7th attacks and have since suffered, whether that be in captivity or beyond. It talks about very grotesque details, whether this report or others, about how women were shot in very sensitive areas, let's put it, before being killed, many of them suffering sexual assault in captivity. And unfortunately, we probably expect to hear more of horror stories, whether it be regarding sexual assault or torture, which will ultimately make many Israelis feel very disgusted with Hamas and its leadership, and ultimately want Hamas to be ejected from the Gaza Strip. And so it will also make many Israelis feel a strong need to make sure that the other hostages, the other 40, are returned home. And my understanding is that while Hamas is committing to returning 10 hostages, it's possible they might be considering the return of 18 deceased hostages. And so it will be a very painful day for the families of the victims who will be returning home in a casket. And it is my hope that Hamas and other militant groups in the Gaza Strip do not parade around the bodies like they did in celebrating fashion when it came to Eva Bibas and her children who were massacred in Hamas captivity, who were strangled to death. And so it will be a very painful day for Israel. And at the same time, some Israelis will be relieved that their friends and loved ones will be returning home alive.
Jordan Cope, thank you for that response. If you stay with us, we are going to continue in the Middle East, and a senior Israeli official says a ceasefire deal with